everybody. Welcome to another episode of How to Be a Texan. How we doing over there?
Good.
Man, it's a great day. Andrew, how are you doing?
Good. Too tired for all this
So
energy
exciting.
that's
No, it's
forced
awesome.
down my throat.
You know
because
why?
you played football yesterday with some high schoolers, and
Yeah.
you figured out how old you really are.
Yeah.
Yes.
From
yes.
the waist down, my
Yeah.
legs are utterly trashed.
Yeah.
You look amazing, though. Powerful.
I don't know.
You know why I feel so good, so high energy? I just had 3 bowls of ice cream. I feel amazing.
That would have been a good recovery thing to eat after your workout yesterday.
Nah, I just
Blue
stuck with the classic In-N-Out.
Oh.
I got a
In-N-Out burger.
double from In-N-Out immediately after.
Did
Well-
they have ice cream at In-N-Out?
Oh yeah, they got shakes and stuff.
What?
Oh.
It doesn't. If you went and ate a big bowl of chocolate ice cream, isn't that the same as having chocolate milk after a good workout?
That's what I'm saying.
I
be-
think
I
that's
believe
a
it
good
is.
I think there's just a
scientific technique.
little bit more sugar in there.
I don't care. Chocolate milk. That's what they remember when we used to ride our bike around Texas.
Oh, that was a long time ago. Yeah. That's ancient history.
Well,
yeah.
it used to be we would ride our bike around Texas, and then they would say you do 2 things. You remember that? We drink pickle juice,
Yes.
and we drink the crap out of chocolate milk.
Pickle juice was during the ride for cramps.
Right.
That would just knock cramps out immediately.
Immediately.
It's amazing. It's a
It
miracle.
was. You know, but when
And then,
you're,
well, finish that. Yeah.
well, when you're severely dehydrated,
Yeah.
you could drink a 5-gallon bucket of pickle juice, and it doesn't really help you.
It would probably kill you. All that salt.
It just sounds terrible.
And then our friend Chris Wood, he's the one that told me.
Hey, tell me that story again about how you always text him and you.
I've never told you that. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. No, he's the one that told me about chocolate milk. He's
Really?
like, drink some chocolate milk. That's the best recovery drink. I was like, okay, I'm in.
That's
Yeah.
what my football coaches always
Yeah.
told me.
Yeah. And I,
Love
of course,
it.
researched it, and he was true.
Can we?
But why chocolate milk though? Why not just like a regular glass of milk? That's
think
what
it has
that's what
just-
I do after I climb.
The cocoa
the extra,
ingredient is a scientific supplement to recovery.
I don't know about that.
I just made that up.
I think it's the sugar.
cocoa.
I think it's the sugar. Yeah, I could tell you're making that up.
Yeah.
After every day after I would ride my bike, I would sit down and listen to some music, and it'd usually be this.
Would it be Van Cliburn?
No, it'd usually be this.
Oh, so good.
It's the Bluebell theme song.
Have a Bluebell Country Day.
Yeah. That would usually
So-
be playing in the background.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but it's awesome.
It's
So-
brilliant marketing.
It is brilliant. So today we're going to talk about. I mark this up as a Texas legend. Yes,
I don't know. Would you consider our Dr. Pepper episode of Texas Legend?
Texas legend. Absolutely. Dr.
Okay.
Pepper counts as a Texas legend, and by golly, so does Bluebell.
All right.
I'm banging the table.
All right, settle down.
Kevin's
You're
breakfast
gonna
table.
flip over your bowl of ice cream.
Well,
your
I've
fourth
got
bowl.
I got a 4th, baby. Just give me the half gallon. No wonder we're all so obese in the South. But whatever. Hey, I love Bluebell. So let's talk about Bluebell ice cream. And is Bluebell the best ice cream ever?
I think so.
I think so.
Other than what my granny would make, or
well,
you know,
that's a different category.
or Kendra's mom, or my mom. I mean,
Golly,
that's the best.
Did you grow up eating that stuff? My mom would make that in that big old whatever trough thing
See,
with
my
rock
granny-
salt and
Granny Holder that we've talked about before.
love granny.
She had the hand crank one.
Yes.
And that was my job.
just crank it.
Yeah, she'd be like, okay, we'll make ice cream. You're going to crank. And I would just crank and crank and crank. And every once in a while, she'd come over and dump some rock salt in there. Remember that?
I never, I never knew. What did the rock salt do?
Oh, it just takes the freezing ability up 10 notches, times 10. You
It
put
make-
rock salt with ice, it just cranks it up a notch.
It makes the ice colder?
No, it makes it, I don't know exactly how it works.
I don't
but
either.
It cranks it up a notch.
Mom had all this ice in this big bucket of whatever, and then the little churny thing inside, and she'd put all this rock salt. I never understood it.
The rock salt is magic.
I think salt like draws out heat, right? Rock salt.
I don't know.
So
But
I
you don't
think it
put the
does
rock salt inside the ice cream canister.
No, not at all.
The
That'd be
ice.
horrible.
Well, let's Google it.
That would be horrible.
Yeah, Andrew's going to Google it.
Okay, find
All
out
right.
what you do with the rock salt.
All
What-
I know is that it
lowers the freezing point of ice.
lowers the freezing point.
so instead of 32 degrees, it's like negative 20 Kelvin. That's a chemistry term.
Wait a second, I don't understand that.
Kelvin? Kelvin Holder?
Kelvin is like 273
Let me
degrees or something
see.
crazy. 373. God, I remember all that from all my chemistry classes. Whatever. You remember the Kelvin factor?
Oh yeah.
Oh, jeez. Hey, so back to Bluebell. Bluebell is awesome.
So anyway, to finish that thought, other
Yeah.
than that, yes, Bluebell's the best ever.
Yeah, homemade ice cream. When Mom would say, we're going to make homemade ice cream, that was such a treat because it was such a process. And then there was the anticipation factor, right? Because it took forever, it felt like, to make it. And then once you got to it, you're so like hyped up and ready for ice cream. It was like, this is the best thing ever.
All right. I've got the actual answer. I figured it out.
Okay.
Okay.
Go.
So the salt actually melts the ice
Okay.
because it's bringing down the freezing point
Oh.
of
Okay.
of the water. So, like it's always best if you're trying to chill a drink or like a bottle of wine to do like ice and water.
Ice and water together.
Yeah. And so the salt melts the ice and brings like that water brine, like the ice and the water and the
kinda
salt down
slushy?
to zero, but it's still in liquid form. And that's how you're able to
And it freezes faster.
Freeze the ice.
There you
out,
go.
Yeah.
That makes me kind of want to try that.
Yeah.
It's called science.
Yeah.
Science. It makes me want to try science.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give a science a try. Give it a try. Give it a whirl.
What's that song? She killed me with
No,
science.
she blinded me with science.
She blinded me with science. One of my favorite
I just
songs.
blinded
me
y'all
with
with
science.
science.
You did blind me with
Yeah.
science.
You know who sang that song?
Not Howard Jones.
No, it wasn't
The other
Howard
guy.
Jones.
It was the other guy.
Well, yeah, it was another guy. You don't know his name, do you?
No.
Thomas Dolby.
Yes, Thomas Dolby. That was by far his best, most popular one. He only had a couple other big hits.
Did he have another one?
Such a great song. Andrew, you blinded me with science. I'm not going to describe you as sexy like this guy does the the Asian lady.
Mrs. Hamamoto or something? Wasn't that her name?
Yeah, I just remember she was like Japanese or
Yeah.
something. And she described her so pretty. She blinded me with science. Love it.
And failed me in biology.
So was she his teacher?
I guess so.
Okay.
This was on MTV 24/7 for
Yes.
a while. You see this thing all the time.
Oh,
man.
love that video. Love that video.
So there you go.
Okay.
So Bluebell blinded me with science.
Again and
Right.
again.
Yeah.
Again and again, because I still eat it.
But the Have Yourself a Country Day,
Uh-huh.
that when I would hear that, I would go, and associated with ice cream, I would go back to me having to hand crank the ice cream.
Right.
And it would kind of, freak me out a little bit.
Right. Why
I'm
would it
just
freak
mad-
you? Why would it freak you out?
Because I had to hand crank it.
Oh. Well, it didn't.
I'm just making it. That was supposed to be funny.
Well,
It was not.
I'm sorry.
I'll have to delete
I'm
that.
a little slow. No. Leave it. It's rolling. We're good. So I agree. So top ice cream ever would be like homemade from mom or grandma or granny Holder or something. That would be the best ever. Second is clearly going to be Bluebell because Texas had Bluebell and it sold Bluebell from 1907 through the 80s. And it was just Texas that had sold it, right? And then in the late 80s, 90s, Bluebell broke out. And I remember when I'd travel around, 90s or whatever, or even now, you go up north and, you go try to get some ice cream and you got to get some whatever. It's not
Breyers.
Bluebell. Yeah, Breyers.
That's that Italian guy we were talking to from the cheese factory. Remember? He was or the cheese shop.
Yeah.
He's talking about Breyers ice
Come
cream.
back tomorrow at
Yeah.
9.
Yeah.
Meet that guy.
Yeah.
Meet Vinny.
What was he saying? Somehow he wove this whole story together about being a kid and he having Breyers ice cream
And the goat that he could name.
and Mr. Bubbles for bath time, and that's all he had growing up. And I can't remember how he even worked that into the conversation.
He worked it all in. And the whole point was for us to come back the next morning at 9 o'clock, and we didn't do it.
Talk to Sean.
Talk to Sean. That was it.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. So anyway,
Nobody knows what we're talking about, right?
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So going back to Bluebell. So tell me about the history of Bluebell as best you know it, Kevin.
Well, I can start. They started in 1907,
Right.
as you said.
Right.
Up until 1911, they just made butter.
Butter.
They just made butter.
Churn that butter.
They made butter.
Okay.
And then in 1911, they kind of said, wait a second, we can get all the ingredients for ice cream from the local farms here. And we've already got the milk. We've already got cream.
Right.
We can get eggs and fresh fruit. So
where do they get that sugar?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
I don't know. Either.
I don't know.
I'm just
But
curious.
they brought that in, and they said, okay, wait a second. So literally they said, they purchased that from local farmers.
Right.
And sugar, I don't know. They got it from...
sugar cane fields.
Yeah.
Do you put eggs in ice cream?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's eggs in there.
Oh, yes.
It's like a custardy kind of thing.
So good. So good.
So then they started hand cranking 2 gallons a day. 2 gallons
2 gallons.
cranked by hand.
My goodness.
And they would put that along with the butter in the horse and wagon and delivered it around town.
Right.
And this was down in,
Right.
was it? How do you pronounce it? Brenham,
Brenham,
Texas, down
Absolutely.
by Texas A&M.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was going on. Then they ran into some financial issues around 1916.
Who didn't?
Well, that's true.
Who didn't? Well, it's pre-depression.
Yeah. Yeah.
Starting up an ice cream business, I bet that was hard
It was
financially.
hard, man.
Nobody's going to pay you a lot. It was like, I'll give you a nickel.
I mean, he's running around in a wagon selling butter and
Ice cream.
ice cream. And he's only got 2 gallons of ice cream, so he's
2
going to run out of that. Nobody else wants the butter.
I'm going to pay you a gallon. I'm going to pay you a
If
nickel
you're buying
for a
ice
gallon.
cream, you don't want butter.
And then by the time you get it to me, it's going to be melted.
Right. This is a rough business. That's how they survived it all.
How did they survive? Because the refrigeration back then was probably crap, right?
Yeah, I don't know how they did it.
I don't either.
A big giant block of ice.
Those big old
And some rock salt.
ice trucks. Remember those ice trucks that go around and whatever?
I remember learning about it. I
So
mean,
if
I
you
don't
were-
remember them.
You weren't there?
No.
Anyway. So, but yeah, they go around and they like cut you a big block of ice. But if you live in the country, you're not getting that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Now, is that why they used to call, like when I was growing up, we didn't have a refrigerator, but we had an ice box.
What do you mean you didn't have a refrigerator? You were born
I know,
in the
but-
in the 70s.
Yeah, but
Like,
listen to what I'm saying. We had an ice box. It was called an ice
you
box.
did not. You had a refrigerator. That's
know,
just
but-
that's just what your people called it. But it was a
I
refrigerator.
know, that's my point.
Yeah.
My point is, that's my whole question.
Your people called it because their parents and
Kyle,
their grandparents.
sometimes it's better to listen than talk.
Shut up. All right.
What I was saying is, I don't know why we called it an ice box, but that's what it was called. But maybe it was somehow related to, back in the old days, did you just get a block of ice and stick it in a box?
Okay. Kevin, I apologize.
I was asking you that question.
We called it, I remember when I was a child, they called it an ice box too, and it didn't make any sense to me because it's a modern day refrigerator. I agree.
It's a box that makes things icy.
No, because back in the day, they would get that big block of ice and they would put it in the ice box. You're right. I apologize.
They would put it in the box.
So tense. Can we just reset? Be happy. Eat some more ice cream. So anyway, let's go through some of the. Let's go through more of the history. So they got 1907 started all the way through the 30s, 40s. They must have picked up steam after this financial setback, though, right?
Yeah, was some guy, E.F. Cruz. Did you read about him?
I hadn't read about him. No.
Him and his sons, that family operated the business starting in the early 1900s.
Oh, that's good. Oh yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Ed Cruz.
Yeah.
He started it out.
Yeah, and then he kind of he didn't own it, but he kind of helped put it on the map.
Oh, after
And-
let's see. Ed Cruz took over after the untimely death of his daddy, E.F. Cruz.
E.F.
and,
Cruz, yeah.
And Ed took it over in 1951.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they put it on the map. They figured out how to sell it,
Right.
And then apparently Howard Cruz, so there were 2 brothers. There was Ed and Howard, right? This says Howard returned in 1954 to be a plant supervisor.
wonder if we returned from Korea.
I don't know. It doesn't say.
Interesting. Okay.
It does not say. And then it says in 1956, Howard was promoted to assistant manager of the company.
Ooh.
Why would you be assistant manager after?
I don't know. That's what SpongeBob always wanted to be. You remember SpongeBob saying he wanted to be, I want to be a manager. Remember him saying that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I asked some young person who said said they were asking me for career advice one time, and they said, I said, well, what do you want to do when you with your career? And they said, well, I want to be a manager. I'm like, that is such a generic answer. A manager of what? A manager. I'm like, that is SpongeBob. Anyway, you got to go a little deeper than that.
And there was another kind of key. This is a Texas native named John Barnhill.
Oh, that's a good name.
Yeah, so he worked in the Brenham plant for the Cruz family, and he was responsible for painting advertising slogans on the drugstores where they would sell the ice cream. He would go in and paint their slogans on there.
Right.
So he was instrumental back in the early days, and then he went off to college. Then he returned back and became the first salesman in Houston.
Oh.
So he kind of kicked off the whole sales, thing. He became a branch manager down in Houston and helped put it on the map. And then he kind of took him over the milestone of being a $1 million in sales in 1963.
Oh, wow.
And then in 65, they opened another distribution center in Austin, Texas, right? So if you think about it, in 63, they were doing 1 million. And then by the 80s, they were, I don't know.
Billions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Right. I didn't even look at their financials.
But you know what kind of kicked it into gear for them was at the end of the 60s and going into the 70s. That's where they developed the homemade vanilla.
And by far their most popular flavor.
Yes. And they engaged the Metzdorf Advertising Agency.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They hired them, and they said, hey, we want to develop a country image for Bluebell. Right? That is your mission, develop a country image. And that's where that theme song that we were listening to earlier, that was from that late 60s, 70s campaign. Have yourself a Bluebell Country Day, and that just drove it into the stratosphere.
Wow.
Right? Just brilliant marketing.
It is good marketing.
And they had another one where they would say it was supposed to be like the Bluebell delivery guy making the rounds. I remember seeing this on TV.
I do remember him, yeah.
Yeah, and he would say, or the kids would try to mob his truck. He's like, oh, sorry, it's empty. He's like, we eat all we can and then we sell the rest.
Right.
Something like that,
So
which is
great.
brilliant, man.
It is
Yeah, it's like, this is so good. We're just going to eat it all and we'll just sell whatever's left over, So brilliant marketing, put them on the map.
Well, they've got a great brand, and they really dominate the South. Now, I would say, what was the other brand that you just said?
Oh, the Briars?
Yeah, Breyers.
Yeah.
So that kind of is one of the dominant brands across all of North America.
Yeah.
But Bluebell in the South, and even my buddies from up north are like, man, we can't get that down here, and we love it when we can.
So there was a little bit of a discrepancy. So this article, and Andrew, I'm using referenceforbusiness.com.
Referenceforbusiness.com, Andrew. That's my citation.
This says that they only sell in 12 southern states, but I think on the Bluebell website that you had,
They said they got
it was
22.
22.
But
So,
that may have moved around a little bit.
yeah. This said it's only in 12 and that they, produce 100,000 gallons per day.
Wow.
And even though they're in a limited number of states, they are number 3 in the country,
So great.
even while being limited.
Yeah. How many gallons of ice cream do you eat a year?
Probably about 100,000. It takes one day down in the Brenham factory to make my order
Just keep
for the year.
Keep you happy.
Yeah, I've got a year. No, I don't eat a ton of ice cream, actually.
You don't?
No.
Andrew, what about
I mean,
you?
I could.
I don't eat very much.
No, being honest, for real.
For real.
Like-
I'm not a big ice cream
Like
guy.
12 gallons a year?
No.
1 gallon?
Maybe.
Maybe a gallon? I think I'm
Probably not even a gallon, honestly.
I think I am.
it's very rare that I have ice cream.
Let's see. I would say I eat 34 gallons a year.
34.
Nah, I'm
Those are
kidding.
very
I don't eat that much.
specific.
But I love Bluebell,
Yeah.
and I eat a lot of it. But I eat a lot of
I
Sonic.
prefer baked goods over ice cream.
Baked goods are
Yeah.
good.
If I'm being
man.
honest.
Yeah, we had a pastor of a church that we went to over in North Richland Hills, and his thing was Bluebell ice cream.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
talked about every single night he would have a big bowl of Bluebell ice cream.
You know what? I had this hospital residency in a hospital in Waco, and my administrator, my CEO there, great man named Richard Scott, and he had 2 bowls of Bluebell ice cream every night before we went to bed.
Really?
Yeah, 2 bowls.
Was he also a Dr. Pepper guy?
Oh, yeah, everybody was a Dr. Pepper guy.
So was he having Dr. Pepper at 10, 2, and 4, and then
I'm sure.
2 Bluebells in the evening?
I'm sure. Now, funny story about him. One of my jobs, because it was
It's
a
called
year.
the Dr. Pepper float.
It's called the diabetes diet.
Well, there's some of that. But so I had this 1-year-long administrative residency when I was post-grad school before I could really start. And I was with him. And so I was just a grunt. I was a grunt hospital administrator. And one of the jobs he had for me every day was, he said, Kyle, I want you to go down to the bakery and I want you to inspect all the cookies that they're making in the bakery. And I want to make sure that they're all oblong. I'm like, what? Oblong. Oblong. So, and he said, the reason is because I want all of our families and patients to know that those cookies are hand baked and they're not perfect circles. They're going to be off, kind of slightly off, so people will know that they're handmade. Isn't that great?
That's pretty smart. Yeah.
And I would go do that every day. I'd go down there and, of course, I'd test one. I'd be like, to the bakery, I'd be like, hey, let me, do a little taste testing. Anyway, so it was great.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so Bluebell ice cream, I love it. There was a scare, though, right? Now, are you finished with the history, or do you want to?
I think so. Yeah, that's about what I got here.
So you're saying in the 60s?
I took us up to the 80s.
So the 60s, they were at $1 million of revenue. And
Early
then,
60s, yeah.
and
And then
then
by
the
end of
80s,
80s,
they were
I don't know what the
all
number
across
was.
the South. Well, no. In the 80s, they were still primarily Texas, and then they got to 14, and then ultimately 22, but I'm not sure that 22 still holds. But regardless, all across the Deep South, Texas namely, and then Deep South neighbors, Bluebell is widespread and dominant. So I'd say it's dominant because it's just a good kind of redneck, deep South kind of thing.
And this says in the 80s, Ed Cruz was named CEO, chairman of the board. John Barnhill, that we talked about, became executive vice president.
Okay.
As well as a GM, right?
Yeah.
So these guys both, stuck it out.
Right.
And then they took the advertising in-house and created the Bluebell Advertising Associates, which continued to work with the Metzdorf agency.
Oh, okay.
So they're laser focused on marketing.
The Metzdorf, was that the one that came up with the Bluebell Country Day?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
They're the one that just blew it out from marketing.
So they weren't one of these kind of Mad Men marketing agencies that were.
They
probably was.
Yeah, I bet they were.
Probably was. Okay, well that's cool. And then there's 2 scares that have happened lately.
The dark underbelly of the ice cream of Bluebell.
Yeah. Here's the dark underbelly. So there was a listeria scare in 2015.
15? I thought you said 16.
Yeah, I was wrong. And so it was like they had a recall, and there was some listeria that got in production.
How did it get in? Do you know?
I don't know. But I remember hearing the story of basically Bluebell just shut down production.
Andrew, can you Google that while we're talking?
And they were doing a recall.
How did the listeria get into Bluebell?
It was like January, February. They recalled, out of this one factory that they did. And I remember it was like leaks and faulty whatever in the drainage of a building. And somehow that was getting into production. And it happened in one lot of it. And so, it got some people very sick. And so they just shut down for a while and then kind of rebooted. So
it says here that it spread to equipment through a floor drain in a storage room at its Broken Arrow, Oklahoma plant.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, because Broken Arrow is not too far from here. So,
and how long were they out? Because you could not get their ice cream for a long time.
It felt like a long time.
Yeah.
So they were down for a while. I don't know. It felt like close to a year, but I don't think it was a year. I think they recalled that, and then they basically shut that plant down and were kind of rebooting and went through all the safety checks and all that, and then got the Department of Justice safety, all that out, and got cleared, and then they were back up and running. And I'm sure there was a kind of a public perception of, I don't know about that for a little bit, but
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I just remember everybody saying, when is Bluebell going to be back?
Yeah, I remember that.
You know, people would go into Kroger and post pictures on Facebook of the ice cream section. And it's like, where's the Bluebell?
That's right. That's right.
That's all I remember.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was worried.
No. No. And then the second scare that came up, and this was recent. This was really in July of 19, where the kid posted licking, like he went into the grocery store and he took tops off and he was licking it and then putting the top back on.
Oh, I don't remember. I didn't hear about that.
No, that's this year, and that was viral. And then as a result,
he was just licking Bluebell. Only Bluebell.
Well, he was probably doing others, but regardless, it was
so weird.
It created a real kind of a security protocol scare for all the ice cream vendors, and they've all kind of doubled back, and now they're sealing the top, and if it's a breakaway, then obviously throw it away.
You would have thought they were doing that anyway.
I think a lot of them were.
Yeah.
But I don't know that Bluebell was. Because Bluebell, you go grab it, and literally you take the top off and you start eating it.
Right there in the checkout line.
in the aisle of the frozen section.
Kyle always brings a spoon with him when he goes to the grocery store.
Why not? Why wouldn't you? A hairdryer to kind of heat it up a little bit, and then there you go.
Remember when they used to have those big things of Brock's candy in the supermarket?
Yeah.
And I would always go get a sample.
Yeah, sample. That's so great.
Same thing. Just get a sample of Bluebell while you're...
Well, I do love it. So then when you go to the Bluebell website, for me, all their products, you think Bluebell's just got ice cream, but they got a billion different assortments of ice cream types, and then individual, and then sherbet, and frozen snacks, and this and that, single serves. I mean, that's a staple for us. When we had birthday parties, it was always you have the cake, and then the little individual cups of Bluebell.
Oh yeah,
I have the little wooden spoon
and the wooden spoon. And all the kids they grab a piece of cake and then they grab a little Bluebell.
Yeah, those things are awesome.
But they make ice cream sandwiches too. They're amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. Okay, so what's your favorite flavor? What's your favorite flavor of Bluebell? Okay,
I think it's vanilla for me. I know that sounds lame.
Okay, but graded on a 1 to 5 scale. 1 being 5 being awesome. Salted caramel cookie.
That's a little too busy for me. I would say. Well, what's the worst score?
1 is worst.
Oh, that'd be a 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Salted caramel cookie. I'll give that a 1.5 too. Peppermint.
I could do a 5 on that, depending on what time of the year it is.
Yeah,
kind of Christmassy.
Yeah, that's a 5 at Christmas. The rest of the time,
Yeah.
Spiced pumpkin pecan.
That'd be a 1.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Chocolate peanut butter cookie dough. That's a new specialty item.
That's not for me. That's a 1.
I'll give that a 4.
Actually, vanilla is not my favorite. I don't know what I was thinking.
Okay,
anyway,
well,
it's mint chocolate chip, right?
Yes, it is, of course.
You're gonna get to it, friend. French vanilla.
I was surprised when you said vanilla.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
Do you like their French vanilla?
I don't. I think so because I don't know the difference between French vanilla and regular vanilla.
French vanilla has hazelnut.
Ooh, this is.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh,
these are all the what's new. These must be like Christmas, Thanksgiving specials, and then Christmas cookies is a new one right now. Ooh, that looks good.
what is that? What's a Christmas cookie?
I don't know, but it looks real good. So
their marketing's working. Okay, I don't know, but it looks real good.
I'm not marketing. So then here are their year-round flavors. And so homemade vanilla is always top seller, and it's great. Whether we give it a 5 or not, who cares?
I give it a 5.
It's 5. It's 5. Dutch chocolate, always there for the chocolate lovers. It's always good.
Yeah.
Cookies and cream, that's been my favorite for decades.
Yeah.
The Great Divide is awesome. Where like literally half the bucket, it's a half gallon, half of it's the Dutch chocolate, half of it's homemade vanilla.
Oh, that's cool.
So great. It's called the Great Divide.
Yeah, that sounds
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
And then they've got the, this is it. Millennium Crunch and Moo and dash Millennium Crunch, and there's a picture of a cow there.
What is that?
I don't know. So I don't know what it is, but that's one of their Millennium Crunch. I bet that's good. Cookie two-step. I don't know what that is, but that looks good. Chocolate chip cookie dough. I always give that a 5. I'm a huge chocolate chip cookie.
I'm not. I give that a 1. I'm not a cookie dough fan.
I'm going to negate that. I'll give that 2 5s.
You can't negate
and
it.
negate Kevin's vote.
I negate your vote. So there.
Pecan pralines and cream. That's good, but I got to be in the mood for that.
Yeah, it's a little too red for me.
Yeah, and then mint chocolate chip.
That is my favorite.
5.
I love it. That's a 5 for me.
For me as a kid, mint chocolate chip was always my favorite. So I'll give it a 5+.
Yeah.
But chocolate chip cookie dough is still a 5.
Yeah.
And it's always and Cole, one of my twins, he's a mint chocolate chip guy too. So it's either that. Okay, the bride's cake,
Nah.
Strawberries and homemade vanilla. That looks pretty
That's
good.
okay.
Rocky Road.
Yeah, that's all
good.
right.
Banana pudding. That's a good one.
Yeah.
No, for real. You ought to try that. Let's go buy some after this.
All
I'll
right.
have some more. Natural vanilla bean.
That sounds good.
I gave that a 1.
Your face.
Just scrunch it up. Because if you have to pick between natural vanilla bean and your regular one, homemade vanilla.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want anything natural.
No, not natural.
That doesn't sound
I
good.
want it unnatural on ice cream.
Right.
Ultimate Neapolitan.
I never understood the Neapolitan. What is that?
Strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla all together.
Okay.
I don't want that. Milk chocolate, nah.
That's
Fine.
all right. Yeah.
Strawberry, it's fine. Pistachio almond. You got to be a weird person to like a pistachio almond.
So I like pistachio, though.
Yeah.
I don't know about the almond part.
Yeah, you got to be
Pistachio's not bad.
kind of weird.
Yeah.
Coffee flavored?
Nah.
No, Karis really likes that. I don't want
I
that.
don't like coffee flavored anything.
Cherry
If I
vanilla.
want coffee, I want to drink coffee.
I like cherry vanilla. I'll give it a 4.2. Cherry vanilla. That's good. You ought to try it.
Yeah.
If you're in a cherry mood. Buttered pecan, always good, but I have to be in the mood. So that's a 4.
I do like buttered pecan. Yeah. I would give it a 4.
You give it a
Yeah.
4? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll give it a 4.1 just
Yeah.
to beat your goal. Okay,
I'll give it
and
a
then-
3.9.
Okay, and then chocolate chip, I'll give that a 5 because I love chocolate chip.
Yeah.
And then black walnuts, the last one.
So for me, I don't like not just ice cream, any dessert. I don't like it overly complicated or sweet or rich.
Okay.
Right? So
No,
that
that's-
kind of carries into my ice cream. That's why some of the,
So when I say salted caramel cookie or spiced pumpkin pecan,
yeah, I'm just like, oh my God.
or this one, chocolate peanut butter cookie dough.
Yeah, no.
That's so much,
weird.
so complex.
It's too much going
All
on
the
there.
flavors.
I just want vanilla or mint chocolate chip.
Chicken
I'm
fried
happy.
steak.
Yeah, cigarettes and beer.
Give me a chicken fried steak, cigarettes, beer, and some
Yeah.
chocolate peanut butter cookie
Smoke
dough.
some cigarettes, have some chicken fried steak, and then drink some beer.
And then eat a gallon of Blue
You
Bell.
get a half gallon, yeah. Yeah, just literally
Half gallon.
go with a spoon to it. Yeah. Yeah, are these gallons or half? These are half gallons, right? These big drums? That's not a gallon.
No,
of
it's a
ice cream.
gallon.
That's a gallon of ice cream?
Isn't that a gallon?
No. That's a half gallon.
Is it really? Go grab it.
Right? It's a
You may
half
be
gallon.
right. I don't know. I
I've
don't
always,
ever buy ice cream.
I've always called it a half gallon.
It may be. I'm sure it's a
Hey,
half
how many
gallon.
pints are in a gallon?
4.
How many quarts are in a pint?
4.
I don't think so. How many cups are in a gallon? I know. That's why I got him.
4 quarts in a gallon?
I don't know.
Oh, you said how many quarts are in a pint?
How many miles are in a gallon? Miles to the gallon. It's a half gallon. Andrew's holding one up from
All right.
1983. Get
You're
out of your
right.
freezer.
You're right. It's half gallon. I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm thinking.
How many miles are in a gallon? I got you there.
18 miles per gallon? That's what my truck said.
Say it in your
It
space
said
voice.
it on my truck. It was 18 miles
pop
per
some-
gallon.
That
Pop
ice
some
cream was eaten
crackles.
on my very first my 1 year birthday.
Oh.
Oh, that's why we
so
kept it.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only 114 years old. That's good. Okay, so that's Bluebell. So, yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's all Texan. It's a Texas legend. Go out and buy you some Bluebell ice cream.
Why do you think they're never expanding outside of the South? I mean, it seems like they could easily do that. Do you think they just don't?
Maybe they can't get their ice trucks all the way up there before it all melts.
You just blew my mind.
Ice trucks. Hey, they just got to ship it on Amazon.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they?
Because the guy on Amazon, he has an ice box in the back of his truck.
They ship that stuff with dry ice now.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
And then the non-frozen, like just regular cold stuff, they freeze water bottles and put them in there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
really?
Oh, I didn't know that because Amy gets this stuff and it has dry ice with it. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. And then one of my twins gets out the dry ice and he throws it in the pool, and the pool basically explodes with smoke.
Is that safe?
Luke does it. I ask him if it does. He's like, "Oh, it's totally safe, Dad."
Oh, I'm not
Watch
believing
this.
anything Luke said. Oh, my God.
But he does. He's like, "Watch this, Dad." And he gets my duck hunting gloves on, and he starts breaking the dry ice up, and he's, "Watch this," and he throws a chunk in the pool and it just starts steaming immediately.
Oh, I never thought about that.
It's
We need
actually
to try
really
that.
cool.
Yeah, we're going to try that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, thank y'all. Go out and eat a bucket
Of dry
Bluebell.
ice.
That would be bad. That'd be terrible. I will say, though, that thanks to our obesity rate here in the South, we consume a lot of ice cream.
We do.
So go obesity.
Go obesity.
No, anti that.
Wait, how does Bluebell fit into the blue zone discussion?
Well, this is probably kind of an anti-blue zone. All in moderation, because I would say that eating ice cream creates positive endorphins. And endorphins, therefore, I'm smiling at you. I'm creating endorphins by you smiling back at me. If I eat ice cream, that creates positive endorphins in me. And therefore, my joy of life indicator increases.
But you're always frowning at me.
I don't think so. Not all the time. You remember my joy of life indicator?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a whole calculation for how you can be more joy-filled.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think if you
just
add,
smile a little bit more.
No, if you add, well, that, but plus if you add 2 bowls of ice cream from Bluebell in there, chocolate, peanut butter, cookie dough ice cream, then I think my joy of life indicator will go up just a bit.
It goes up, yeah.
I think so, and I'll create some more positive endorphins to share with you.
So it is scientifically proven that if you smile at someone, it has an effect on them that causes them to release endorphins into their body. It is absolutely true.
Did I ever tell you?
Now, let me finish this, because that is absolutely true, and it's scientific, right? So at the football game last weekend, Kyle's like, hey, I heard this crap where if somebody's smiling at you, it magically creates endorphins. And I said, that's true. He's like, that's a bunch of crap. I said, no, it's not. It's actually true. He's like, no, it's not.
It magically creates.
He's like, I'm creating endorphins right now. Is that what you're telling me?
And I just started smiling real weird at him.
Like, no, you're creeping me out. No.
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
So anyway.
No, I told you the story of that, right?
No, go ahead.
So this story came up. I was working at this hospital, and I had this hospital administrator that I was working for, and he told me that. He said, Kyle, I want you to go around the hospital smiling at people because, and then he said, let's practice that. Because,
let's practice. So he would agree with me. You're frowning all the time.
So he said that, no, not at all. He said, I'll walk up to you and smile at you, and he did. And you smile at me in return, and I did reluctantly. And he said, look, we're creating endorphins right now. I want you to do that throughout the hospital all day long. And so I tried.
You tried?
I tried. His doctors were
But
yelling
you were
at me.
telling people, I'm creating endorphins for you now.
I'm artificially
and
creating
you better
this,
have endorphins.
or you're fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where it broke down, I think.
Yeah, it broke down there. It broke down there, yes. So anyway, but I love ice cream. Hey, forget all that. I love ice cream. It makes me happy whenever I eat ice cream. Now, Amy, she wants me to like all in moderation. That's all I'm saying. Just all in moderation.
All in moderation.
Sometimes I have a little bit of a gluttonous issue where I just like to eat a lot of ice cream.
Yeah.
A lot of ice cream.
Yeah.
But I've just got, in moderation.
Yeah.
So only so much endorphins can be created at one time.
Right. Exactly.
That's what my self is telling myself. All right. Well, hey, thanks for listening to our episode on Bluebell, one of the Texas legends.
Texas legend, Bluebell. Thanks for listening. Look us up on iTunes, Google Play. Leave us a review.
I'm creating endorphins right now.
I am too, man. All right. Adios.
See ya.